well, we got some interesting projects going on around here. Thought you might like to check it out. Here's Ron welding today. He's fixing his wood rack so it's more stable. He's putting some gussets on there.
What's that?
I was telling YouTube what you're doing.
Oh, trying.
That's like riding a bike, right?
Yeah, it's been fired up for a while.
Yeah, I started to say it looks like an old torch. Pretty cool. There you go. It might heat up more after a minute. Alright, it's about to get really bright. I'm out of here. Okay, so as you can see, there's like construction and all kinds of stuff going on back here. Well, the reason why Ron has to weld gussets onto his wood rack is because, well, he has to go get a power pole to put up back here because, well, the power pole got busted, and let's just say it wasn't a very pretty situation, and this house is totally set up for regular electricity. And yeah, we're just trying to get it back on here. In the meantime, we've been using a generator, which has been helping, but if any of you know about living with a generator, it's not exactly a happy thing to do. You turn it on for maybe a couple hours a day, and then the rest of the time you have no electricity, which would be fine, except for when that happens, you have no refrigeration and you have no water. So yeah, that's just kind of a crappy thing. And yeah, Ron's still over there welding. You can hear the pops and cracks. He hasn't used his equipment in a while, so it's probably pretty funky. But yeah, let me show you guys the hole that they had to dig for the pole and everything. And it was kind of involved. It was kind of crappy, but yeah, hang on a second. Okay, here's some of the carnage. That's the electrical that goes to the house. Right now it's temporarily tagged into a generator, which is something I do not recommend you guys do yourself. Luckily, Ron has a friend who's an electrician, so he came out here and did this professionally. Otherwise, yeah, you don't want to do this. It's very dangerous, and yeah, you can get electrocuted, so do not do this. And then the pole was right here, and as you can see, it was in the middle of the driveway, and that's kind of what happened to the pole. Ron's van has a lot of blind spots, and well, let's just say he backed over the pole and broke it, which is exactly what happened. And so now we're fixing everything. We had to get a new permit. We had to do all kinds of rigmarole through the county just to get this done, but he's moving the pole a few feet over, so they had to dig a trench for all the wiring to go in, and it has to be pretty dang deep. And they're putting a cement box over this part over here so that they can drive over it, and it won't hurt anything. That pipe sticking up out of the ground right there is a water pipe, and no, it didn't break. He decided to cap it off because he doesn't want it in the middle of the driveway either. especially with no pole in front of it to protect it. So yeah, it protected it from getting broken when he hit the pole. Yeah, just an FYI, if you buy a Ford van, just know they have a lot of blind spots in the back, and you could back into things, especially if it's an extended version of the old E350s. That's one of the reasons why I did not choose an E350 for my personal van, because I've had one before, and they do have an extensive amount of blind spots in the back. And that's why he ended up breaking the pole. Plus, he had his mirror in the wrong position. So yeah, just check your mirrors and be very careful. Possibly get backup cameras so this does not happen to you. But yeah, here's this big deep trench, and then we have this ginormous hole down here that the pole has to go into. And the hole is almost 5 feet deep, and it has to be at least 4.5. So yeah, that's some of the stuff that's going on today. They're going to be bringing the pole here and hopefully putting it in this hole. So we'll see. But yeah, this is what happens around here. You get a place to live and stuff happens and you have to fix things. Okay, so right now the van is becoming very much in handy. We think we've got the coolant leak fixed. I haven't really driven it. We've, you know, kind of ran it and moved it a little bit, but I haven't driven it since then. And the headlights still need to be replaced, and things like that. And it still gets dark pretty early in the evenings here. So I don't want to be driving with no headlights. The last time I drove, I really shouldn't have been driving. I could not even see it all. You can polish the things, but it lasts like maybe a few days around here and then it's done. So you might as well just buy new headlights, because they're pretty done. But the van is coming handy, so let me show you, because we don't have electricity all the time, especially with the generator. I've been basically using the solar panels on top of the van to help us charge stuff. So as you can see it here, we've got this little charger for his drills and stuff on the inverter, and then of course, you know, my hillbilly setup here for charging, you know, little battery banks and cell phones and stuff like that. It's been kind of cloudy and overcast lately, and so I've actually put up my extra suitcase Dokyo solar, and I just kind of set it in the dashboard right there. But that's a tip for you guys. Like, if you only can put a little bit of solar on top of your van, get a suitcase one and at least put it in your windshield, because it does help. Today's sunnier than it's been, but you know, I'm still just gonna leave it hooked up for a little while, especially when we're parked here. There's no reason why I shouldn't be able to just leave it here indefinitely. But the cool part about the Dokyos is they're plug and play. That little charge controller that's sitting on top of the inverter here, that's the inverter, that's the charge controller. It's a kind of a cheapy one. It's not like an MPPT or anything, so it's not that efficient, but it is helping to you know, supplement the battery. And so that's why I got the Dokyo, because it comes in handy, and it's just plug and play. So for those of you who are just starting out with solar and don't know very much, I totally recommend the Dokyo. I don't know how long it would last. I just started using it, even though I bought it like almost a year ago. But yeah, you just hook up the little alligator clippies to your battery, as you can see here. Then those go into the charge controller, and then the charge controller has a plug that comes from the solar panels, and you're good to go. And the cool part is too, this thing also has a couple of USB ports. So you can charge directly from this deal, even if you don't have a battery. So if you don't have your deep cycle battery yet, you can actually charge your, you know, like little battery banks like that one you see right there, or your cell phone, or your whatever. If you have a USB charged laptop, you can charge it right from the Dokyo solar panels. No battery needed, so that comes in handy. But another reason why I'm also trying to supplement my solar is because we hooked up this broken fridge of mine. It actually works. It just doesn't shut off in time before the batteries go dead. So that's why I ended up getting my money back from Amazon, and they didn't want me to send it back to them. So I basically ended up with a free fridge. But for right now, we really need it because we have no real refrigeration in the house when the generator's not running. So I've got this stupid thing hooked up. And again, I'm not going to tell you what brand it is because I don't like it and I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to give them any free publicity because there's no such thing as bad publicity. If you've taken any marketing or business classes, you will know that. Or if you are an entrepreneur, you will understand that even though somebody hears a name, even in a bad context, it could be good publicity because they'll remember that. So you don't want people to remember stuff that you don't like. So I'm not going to be talking about it. But anyway, yes, we hooked up this fridge. And so what we do is turn it off at night, which is something we should not have to do. We should not have to worry about it. But because it is defective, it has a defective control panel, which is a warning to all you guys. If you buy 12-volt fridges, keep an eye on them because some of them, like mine, have a defective control panel and they will not turn off before the batteries completely die. And when that happens, if you have a lead acid battery, it's pretty much toast. You can only do it to it maybe a couple times and then your battery is dead forever. So yeah, do not leave these things unattended. Keep an eye on them all the time. I know it's a pain in the butt, but you have to do it because even if it has a good control panel, when you get it, you never know, it might burn out. I don't trust them. After this one and the other two that I had, I really do not trust these 12-volt fridges. So what we do is we just keep it on during the daytime when the solar is, at its peak. And then we shut it off as soon as, even before the sun goes down. Like if the sun starts to go down, we shut this thing off. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys this. This is actually helping to supplement us because we're totally off the grid right now. We have the power shut off because the pole is broken. But this house, like I say, is very difficult to keep electricity going and things like that, and just have all your normal stuff, water and everything else, without PG&E. If we had built this house ourselves and did it the way that I would have done it personally, it would have been basically like a van and being self-contained, and we wouldn't even have to worry about PG&E at this point. But because it's not like that, we are having to set the house back up. And yeah, so let me explain. Okay, so like I've said before, this house is not really set up to be off-grid, even though right now it is. So it makes things a little bit more difficult to, maintain a standard of living here, i.e. keeping the water on and flushing the toilets. So that's why we're putting the PG&E back in. And for those of you who do not live in California and don't know, PG&E is Pacific Gas and Electric. It's basically the utility company here. Once we get all this stuff taken care of, fixing everything, they are not going to charge us to put the electricity back on. They'll wire it and everything, from their pole to our pole, but we have to have all this stuff in place before they can do that. And yeah, the van has been coming in health. It's been invaluable. So to keep our life going in this house, which is kind of ironic, seeing how we're living in a house, but we're using the van to basically power parts of it, and it's made me really realize how important it is to have backup systems in your life. But yeah, had we built this house ourselves, it would be totally self-contained and off the grid and have no problems. With this, we wouldn't even have to be worrying about PG&E. There probably wouldn't have been a power pole in the first place, because I would have built a house that was very self-contained, and used a lot less resources than an older home like this. So yeah, it's just kind of funny to think that here we are like using like my little camper van to help supplement, to keep our electricity needs going. We charge our little Lucy lights in here when they go dead, too dead to charge off the solar. We charge little battery banks, our phone. We use the printer and the computer on the thing, and so yeah, it's kind of funny. So it's just making me realize that I need to put a backup solar system for the house. So hopefully pretty soon, coming up on the channel, I will be building a very small solar system that's going to work just for the refrigerator, the stove, and a few lights. So when the power does go out, which happens at least, I would say an average of once a month around here. When we do have PG&E, the power's out quite often. Especially in the summertime lately, they shut it off on purpose to keep the thing from catching on fire because they haven't really maintained it in the last 100 years. So it's pretty crappy. So yeah, there's going to be some projects for, like I said on the last video, coming up to help supplement the electricity in this house. And one of the things is that I want to do, like I said, is wire up some lights and wire up our refrigerator permanently on the thing. And we got a gas stove, but I don't know if anybody of you realized, unless you have an older gas stove, they don't work without electricity either anymore. We got one that is just a couple years old that we got off of Facebook for free, but it still needs electricity to ignite the stove and keep the pilot light on and all that kind of stuff. So I will be wiring that small amount of electricity into the solar as well. We took out the electric stove that we had because it was a big 210 plug thing, and well, even the generator wouldn't run that many 210 plugs. There, I mean, you could get a giant generator to do that, but it just costs a fortune, so we couldn't do it. And nor would we want to, because that would take a lot of gas or diesel or whatever. So yeah, so we're just trying to basically make it so that some of our systems are on all the time, whether there's power or not. So my solar system will not be grid tied. It'll have its own little battery bank and be self-contained, and it'll be just a little bit bigger than what we have in the van. So hopefully that will be coming up for you guys to watch too. And yeah, so I don't know, guys. I guess I'm just going to cut it off because it's getting pretty long, but I just wanted to, show you guys around and some of the funky things that we're doing right now. And yeah, hopefully you guys got a little bit of entertainment out of this. And if you did, please like and subscribe and all that good YouTube stuff. Thank you very much for watching, and have an awesome day. All right, bye.